My name is Hannah and this is my no-buy year. It's time for another empties video, another modest empties video. I have about the same number of empties this month as I had last month, so things have tapered off. My empties videos have apparently ceased to be the dramatic hour-long pieces of work that they once were, but I definitely have a number of things to show you and to review for you, so let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. As always, we will start with hair care, then move through body care, skin care, and finish off with makeup. I have one hair care product that I emptied this month. This is the Amika Nourishing Masque, and it says Sea Buckthorn Berry Intense Conditioning and Repair for All Hair Types. As many of you know, because I've talked about it in empties videos previously, I don't buy conditioner. I don't use conditioner on a regular basis, but when I do acquire little sample sizes of deep conditioning hair masks or conditioners, I will use them. So I probably end up using some kind of conditioning products just on the ends of my hair every fourth or fifth time I wash my hair. And more information about how I handle my hair is coming very, very soon. I'm almost finished filming days and days and days of hair diaries, check-ins, to show you how I handle my hair over the long life cycle between washes. Anyway, I don't really know the difference between this and any other kind of deep conditioning mask, except for that it didn't do anything horrible to my hair, because sometimes a deep conditioning mask, if it has too much synthetic stuff in it, it will really coat my hair and make it slippery and kind of weighed down and yucky. This didn't do that, so that's good, but it then just performed in the same way as other nourishing masks perform. I felt like it nourished my hair. I felt like it made the tips of my hair a little bit less tangled and a little bit less dry, and that was it. I liked it, but I wouldn't buy it because I have no need to own a product like this. I ran out of toothpaste. Do you remember this? I think I showed this tube of toothpaste, or at least talked about it, in an empties video near the beginning of the year, because when I entered the year of 2017, that's not the year that this is. When I entered the year of 2018, I had a little bottle of Lush Toothy tabs, and I ran out of them either in January or in February. It was pretty early in the year. And I remember sharing in another empties video that I didn't want to go to the mall to get more Toothy tabs from Lush. And I also didn't want to order just one thing from Lush and pay for shipping, especially something relatively small. So I ended up just buying this toothpaste in the grocery store. I don't really like mint at night, so that's part of the reason why I like those Lush Toothy tabs, because they come in a variety of non-mint flavors. This is cinnamon. It's just Dr. Bronner's cinnamon, and I really got tired of it after a month or two. Like, I didn't enjoy using this product, and it's not because it's Dr. Bronner's, and it's not because it's cinnamon, and it's just because it's icky regular toothpaste, and I just didn't love it. And maybe the cinnamon flavor had partly to do with that. At the beginning it was novel, but over time I really became weary of this, and I was quite excited when I had finished it up. So I do recommend this if you want a cinnamon toothpaste, but because of the way I had felt about this, after I finished this, I decided to treat myself to the Lush Toothy tabs again. So I got the flavor Boom. It's the charcoal and chili blend ones, but they're supposed to kind of faintly taste like Coca-Cola. They're not sweet really at all. They do have what to me is a very pleasant flavor, and I enjoy chomping on them and chewing them up, and to be honest, it makes me brush my teeth more often. I know you're supposed to brush your teeth a couple of times a day, and I tend to just brush my teeth at the end of the day, and with these I'm much more likely to just kind of grab for them and brush my teeth after lunch if I happen to be at home, or in the morning before I leave the house after breakfast. That's just something that I am not in the habit of doing, and I noticed that I've been much better about brushing my teeth more frequently since I bought these. So it's kind of worth it to me for that. It's kind of worth it to have a pleasant experience. The toothpaste costs something like $7 or $8. I'm sorry, I don't really know the specs on these things very well, because to me toothpaste is something that no matter what kind you buy, it lasts for so long. that it ends up costing very, very little per day or per month or per year, no matter what kind you buy. So I just don't take the question of pricing for toothpaste as seriously as I take the question of pricing for something like a facial moisturizer. My guess is that the toothpaste is around $7 or $8. I think that these are around $10, but they're definitely not gonna last as long. I'm not sure exactly how long they'll last. I'm guessing a couple of months, whereas the Dr. Bronner's lasted 7 months. So these definitely aren't as economical as those, but at this point in my no-buy year in my life, this is worth it, and I'm really excited to have them back. I panned a perfume, which I haven't really done, I don't think, so far this year. And it's partly because I have a psychology about perfumes that I don't tend to have about other types of products, and it's something I've heard people talk about. And when I hear people talking about it on YouTube, I'm like, oh, I don't really have that problem. But I realized recently that I kind of do when it comes to perfumes. And that is that I am reluctant to finish them because I don't want them to be gone. I don't want to no longer have this perfume in my arsenal. And so I tend to really distribute my use among all of my perfumes to try to use all of them as slowly as possible because I like them all and I like having the diversity. So I think that's partly why I haven't gone through perfume. I don't have that much perfume. I mean, I have more than just a few, but a lot of them are like half-size or mini-size bottles like this. I have very few full-size bottles of perfume. This is a beautiful scent, and I am sorry that it's gone. It is by Histories de Parfum. Histories de Parfum. It looks like Histories de Parfum, basically. And it's called Ambre 114 or Amber 114, but it's spelled Ambre, not Amber. So it's their amber, and I think it claims to have like 114 different ingredients in it. That's why it's called Ambre 114. And it's just a gorgeous smell. It's, I don't remember. It starts out, oh, I loved it so much. It starts out kind of a little bit herbal and musky and almost smoky, and definitely with some amber, but it's got some sweetness in it and it's got some vanilla in it for sure. And I like the way that it smells when it comes out. I feel like there is almost like an old books smell, like a musty old books smell. That's part of the overtones when it first comes out, and it's got pretty sharp herbal and musky notes when you first spray it. And I like that smell, but what I really love about this is the way that it dries down and the way that it lasts. I found when I got a sample of this back in the day, I sprayed it on and I liked it, but I didn't quite love it. And then about an hour later, I started smelling cathedrals and smoke inside of churches, you know, like those incense. That's what it was. But it's like holy incense, not like patchouli incense. It's like the incense in churches. And it just reminded me of visiting a bunch of churches in the Middle East when I was a kid. And it reminded me of like musky, it's like musky old books, but in a totally different way, a much fresher and more ritualistic feeling kind of way. It's just, I love that. And it's not so distinctively incensey that I like smelled like a church or smelled like I had just walked out of some kind of church. And to be clear, I'm not like deeply religious and saying that I like the smell because I want to feel like I'm in church. It's not like that. It's just evocative. It's very evocative, herbal, smoky, comforting, and sort of exciting in this way of very, very old monuments and old buildings. And then what comes after that is vanilla. And vanilla is my favorite note in perfumes. So it's that incensey vanilla that really got me, and I used this whole thing up. I've only had it for a year and a half, maybe. I think I bought it last year. It's a little expensive, I think, but I could see myself buying a full bottle of this at some point in the future. I am gonna miss having it in my collection. Ugh, I feel like I just talked about that perfume for so long. I have these little empty sample containers of the sunscreens that I sampled. I have filmed my sunscreen review video. The search is over, everything has been resolved. I've actually already replaced my sunscreen and I just need to go ahead and post that video. I'm probably gonna post it this week. In fact, I'll probably post it on Friday. I've been pre-filming a bunch of videos because October is going to be so incredibly busy for me, but I just sat down and looked at my schedule and I realized that I actually think I might have over pre-filmed. Like, I think I have so many videos that distributing them out across just 2 uploads a week for the next month would mean that it would be putting off posting certain videos for way too long. So I think I'm going to be back to posting some bonus videos. They're just like my pre-filmed videos that I thought I would have to save, but I don't really have to save. And that sunscreen video is one of them. So check for it on Friday and you can hear my reviews of all of these. Oh, my eye's watering. We're already into skincare and I haven't even said anything about it. I was considering toothpaste and perfume to be body care, and now we're moving into skincare. So there was the sunscreen, and here's my other skincare stuff. I finally used up my Dr. Jart Ceramide in liquid. This was one of 3 hydrating toners or hydrating essences that I had when I began the year, and this was like the everlasting bottle. I do love the Dr. Jart Ceramide products, and I'm sorry that I'll no longer have one in my routine because I really do like them and I think that they do a good job at nourishing the skin. I think the ceramides are really good for the skin. I don't know if there are ceramides in any of my skincare right now. When I finish my current night masks, I'm going to get the CeraVe one, and I know that that has ceramides in it, so I know that ceramides will be coming back into my routine. I didn't really enjoy this that much as hydrating toners go, and it's for reasons that I can't really explain. I think I felt like it was a little bit less deeply nourishing for the under layers of my skin than other hydrating toners that I've used. I think ceramides are really great because they encourage the skin cells on the surface to rebuild I believe that's correct. I think that the skin needs ceramides to rebuild, to build its cells. So ceramides are really good for like reparative work on the surface of the skin, but I really am reaching for a hydrating toner to like deeply push moisture into the deeper layers of my skin. So what I really want is hyaluronic acid. Like, that's honestly what I want for my hydrating essence. And so this was nice, but I didn't love it. I also know that there's alcohol in this, and I don't tend to be obsessively concerned about alcohol. You hear that alley cats? I don't tend to be obsessively concerned with alcohol in skincare. I think a lot of times it's just a preservative agent, it evaporates, and I think that it can be used in skincare sometimes in a way that's not super damaging. So I guess what I should say is I don't worry about it too much in products like setting sprays, where I understand why alcohol is the useful vehicle for that kind of thing. But this kind of product where you're like packing it into the skin and pushing it into the skin, like, I don't feel that great about alcohol being one of the ingredients in this. And I always kind of felt like the ceramides were doing good things for my skin, but that this wasn't actually moisturizing my skin that much. So I liked it, didn't love it, wouldn't purchase it again. And as I talked about in my check-in, I have been bound and determined this entire time that I would replace this with the Belief Hungarian water essence, which I at one time had a deluxe size sample of, and I really did love that essence. I found it to be very nourishing and a pleasure to use, and I loved the packaging and I loved everything about it. But when I looked it up in order to purchase it, I found that it was $42, and at this point in my no buy year, that's way too much for a product in this category. So instead of buying the Belief one, I bought this. This is kind of like a YouTube star. It's the Hada Labo Gokujin lotion, and it's the one that has 3 different kinds of hyaluronic acid. I think it's supposed to be 3 different sizes, like molecular sizes of hyaluronic acid, so that it's able to kind of nourish all the levels of the skin, because one type of hyaluronic acid goes really deep, and another goes slightly less deep, and another goes less deep than that into the skin. And I bought this just trusting that it was as good as everyone says it is and as Gothamista says it is, and I absolutely love it. It is fantastic for the purpose of hydrating the skin via the 7 Skin method, and I demonstrated the 7 Skin method in my skincare routine, so I will link those videos. I recommend this so highly, and it's not expensive. It's something like it's less than $20, and it might even be closer to 10. I'm sorry, I can't remember right now, but I'll put it up on the screen. Fantastic value. It's a big bottle. I couldn't be happier with this product, and I'm actually really glad that I was deterred from buying the Believe product by its price, because it means that I ended up with this gem, and I love it so much. I finished this little bottle of the Ordinaries Niacinamide 10%, zinc 1%. I like using niacinamide. It's supposed to reduce the look of blemishes. I like using zinc. It's supposed to help protect your skin from breaking out. Zinc is one of the minerals that acne-prone people tend to be deficient in. So I do feel like this helps to soothe my skin. I talked about this and why I have it and why I use it, again, in my skincare routine, and I did replace this. I have a full bottle right there. I'm considering not replacing it another time. Like the next time I run out of this, I might go without it for a while and see how I do, because I do have niacinamide in my P50 toner, and niacinamide to me is actually the most important ingredient in this. I don't have zinc, I don't think, anywhere else in my skincare, but I do take zinc orally, so I think there's a chance that I could do without this, but for now I do have another bottle to get through. So I like this, and I think if you are looking for some more serums to incorporate into your skincare routine for moisture and for acne prevention and for like the healing of blemishes and scars, I do recommend this if you don't have niacinamide anywhere in your routine. This is a good, inexpensive way to incorporate it. I guess this counts as skincare. This is a little deluxe sample size of the Bobbi Brown Extra Illuminating Moisture Balm. And this is an interesting product because I love it, but it doesn't fit into my skincare routine. So I often talk about looking for a reason not to buy a product, and there's only one reason for me not to buy this product apart from the price probably, and that is that it just doesn't make sense. It can't be incorporated into my skincare routine in a way that doesn't disrupt what I have going on. So what it is a lotion. It's like a moisturizing lotion. It's a balmy lotion, but it's illuminating. So it's intended to go underneath your makeup, but it's kind of a cosmetic, you know? I mean, it's moisturizing, but I don't think that it's mostly really skincare. I think the illuminating properties of it are really foregrounded, are really important. So it can be used for moisture, but I think it's also really intended to give the skin a palpable glow. And they suggest that you then kind of work with that glow, you work with the finish that this gives your skin to build your look for the day. So it's being marketed to people who like don't want to wear foundation at all, or all they want is kind of some kind of lotion that adds a little extra something something. And the reason it doesn't work in my routine is that I put all of my moisturizing products on underneath my sunscreen. And it's really important for me that my sunscreen be my last skincare product in my routine before primer. But this isn't a primer. I actually tried to use it as a primer a little bit, but it didn't really do the work of a primer. It didn't create a sufficient enough barrier, I felt, between my skin and my makeup. It didn't prolong the use of my makeup. It didn't fill in my pores at all, which isn't something I'm too concerned about, but it didn't create a finish on the skin that was like a canvas for the application of makeup. It just created a finish on the skin that was really, really beautiful in and of itself. If I stayed inside all day and I didn't need sunscreen and I was just going for like a really natural look, then this would be really beautiful. And those were the occasions on which I used it in order to use up this deluxe size sample. I used it when I was like filming late at night and I was starting from scratch putting on my face. So I didn't need sunscreen because I knew that I wasn't going to be going outside and that I was just going to wash it off. I used this and I love it. I absolutely love everything about it. I love the smell. I love how it looks. I love how it feels. I love how it performs. It was very nourishing. It was very luxe feeling, and it was beautifully illuminating without being garish. It just does not fit in my life, and for that I am grateful because it's expensive and I don't want to buy it. I used up a bunch more masks, a bunch more sheet masks. Oh my goodness, I used up a bunch more sheet masks from my sheet mask pack. That's the one that I purchased the last time I purchased sheet masks, and I've talked about them in previous empties, so I'm not going to go on at length about them, but I really, really love these sheet masks. They're super inexpensive. They come in a pack, I think, of 15 for $10, and I've been using at least one, if not two, a week these days because my skin is starting to get a bit drier as the seasons change. So these are all the ones from that pack, and then I also used this, the Face Shop Pomegranate Grenade, which is a sheet mask that was included in the care package that Tara sent to me, and I really, really liked this. I've kind of been picky about sheet masks, and I really love these, and I feel like I didn't even really notice the difference like between these and this. These are the ones I've settled on after a long search for inexpensive, effective sheet masks that really fit my face, that have a lot of serum in them, and that are easy to wear, and that don't break me out, and all of this stuff. They, to me, have checked all the boxes, and that's why I keep ordering them. And this, it just checked all of the same boxes. It was perfect. I barely noticed that I was using something other than my usual masks. So that's really great. I'm not sure how much these cost. I'll look them up, but if they're on par with the cost of these, then maybe I'll order some from the Face Shop next time I'm in need of face masks. Thanks, Tara. All right. What's my hair doing? All right, we're on to makeup type things, and I have two primers. I had this deluxe sample size of Benefit Professional that a friend gave to me. I had never tried it, so I was interested in trying it, and I really, really didn't like it. I used it up, but it was too dry for me. For me, with my dry skin, it didn't quite pill. Like, it never pilled on me for sure, but it was like it was threatening to pill every time I used it, and I didn't like that feeling. It just felt kind of paste, it was paste-like, and I felt like I was sort of rubbing a dry silicone paste onto my skin. And I like a silicone primer, but I like it to really feel like a silicone-y cream that melts into the skin and becomes part of the skin. I just didn't like this, and I also didn't like the color. I know that it's silly because it's supposed to sheer out, and it's so non-existent when you actually buff it out, but the flesh colored color of this is so much darker than my actual skin tone that it made me feel like I was doing my overall look for the day a very, very slight disservice every time I reached for this. So I stubbornly got through it. I used it all up, but I would never buy Benefit Professional. I had this deluxe sample size of the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil, and I had forgotten that I had this. It was like way back in the back of my drawer. I don't even remember quite when I acquired it, but it came up again when I was like looking through my stuff, and I just quickly, it was almost done, so I like quickly knocked out the rest of it so that I could put it in my empties. And again, similar to the Bobbi Brown product, I think that the problem with this is, for me, is that it doesn't fit into my routine. And I do really, really like this if I didn't have skincare and sunscreen and all of this other stuff. This is a really beautiful skincare / primer product. So if all I was going to do one day was to wash my face and then apply a primer and then go in with my makeup, this would be amazing. So for people for whom that's all that they do, I think this is really lovely because it's a beautiful oil. It's really nourishing for the skin. It feels really good. It soaks in. It's beautiful. But I don't want to put an oil on top of my sunscreen. Again, like, I layer my oils and serums, and then I use my sunscreen as the last step. And to go in on top of that with an oil, I just feel like would break down the integrity of my sunscreen. I like applying makeup on top of this, and in fact, again, the way that I've used it is for filming. Like, sometimes I've just used this before putting makeup on for filming, and that's how I used it up, and I loved using it every time. It's a product that I really, really enjoy. It's just totally impractical for me, and I won't be purchasing a full size of this at any time. So this is a primer too. I have 3 primer type things in the makeup category. The Urban Decay Anti-Aging Primer Potion. I think it's been almost a year that this has lasted me. I believe I bought it at the VIB sale last November. and it's good. It's good. I've now moved on to the Smashbox Photo Finish Eye Primer. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the Smashbox 24-Hour Photo Finish Shadow Primer, and I like this better. I like this a lot better. I don't think I would repurchase this. The Smashbox one feels a little more slippy and a little more damp, whereas this felt kind of like a little bit more gummy. This just felt like a gummier product. And I kind of like the slippiness of the Smashbox one. I feel like I can spread it a little bit thinner. This one I always felt like it was sort of not super tacky and gunky. It's not horrible. It's a very, very good tried and true eye primer. I just didn't like the application. When I started using the Smashbox one again, I liked it more because I just felt like it was a little bit more elegant. And then lastly, I just have one little makeup product, and look how busted this thing is. This was my replacement mascara, my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. And it's done. It is like done. It could not be more done. But I tend to continue to use mascaras even after they get pretty dry because I like a dry formula. But the thing that made me finally give up and put this in my empties, it had become incredibly dry and almost impossible to put on my lashes, but it also just became so stiff and difficult to open. Like the tube just gave out on me. I don't remember when I bought this. I'm sorry, I've really done not enough research for this empties video. It wasn't very many months ago, I think, that I purchased this. It could have been 3 months. My guess is that it was about 3 months ago that I finally ran out of my last mascara and ended up purchasing a mascara for the first time. This is really great, but I didn't love it as much as I remember loving it, especially at the very beginning. It got better as it got drier, and I would say the very last month or month and a half of its use, it was very, very good. But the first maybe month or 2 to 3 weeks, I struggled to get enough volume and enough length. It was too wet at the very beginning to be as buildable and as fluffy as I like. So I still endorse this, and it's still a drugstore mascara that I do recommend and I do really like, but I'm not super excited to immediately repurchase it. And I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do in terms of mascara, because here's my current mascara situation. I, at some point along the way, acquired this deluxe sample size of Urban Decay's Perversion mascara. This is almost done, but it's currently my only black. And then Tara sent me the L'Oreal Voluminous, the original Voluminous formula in the curved brush in a brown color. So I have this one little black and this one brown, but this brown is so dark and rich that I feel like I don't necessarily miss having a black as long as I have this. So this is about to kick the bucket, and I think after that I'm just going to be good with this brown one until it dries up. So that could get me through to the end of the year, or at least very close to the end of the year. And I'm enjoying this a lot, and I think that it's actually similar to Lash Paradise. It was a bit wet right out the gate, but it's already starting to really get good, and I'm loving that. I really like that, and I've never tried that original Voluminous formula, so that's exciting, and I think that's going to be my mascara going forward. But when I use up that mascara, I think I might go back to a high end just for a little while, just to see how long it lasts and how worth it I feel like it is if I'm only going to have one mascara. I might repurchase the IT Cosmetics Superhero Stretch Mascara. I think that, in spite of its packaging flaw, is possibly my all-time favorite mascara. And I do miss having, like, these drugstore mascaras are really, really good. They're really good and buildable, but I do miss having a mascara in my arsenal that's like incredibly dramatic in terms of the lengthening and thickening qualities. It's not quite the same. So these ones are perfectly sufficient and I can do well with them, but I kind of miss that like extreme splink effect that I can get with the IT Cosmetics. The other drugstore one though that I have been wanting to try is the Essence Lash Princess. I've heard such amazing things about that. Maybe I'll give that one a go when I run out of the one that I currently have. It remains to be seen. And that is it. That is my little batch of empties for September of 2018. As I said last month, I'm glad that my empties are starting to taper off. I'm glad that they're starting to become Oh no, I didn't tell you about one thing. There's one last thing that I wanted to tell you about. It's so exciting. So another thing that I ran out of this month was the packet of cottons, the Muji cottons. And I'm not even sure I remember telling you about the Muji cottons. I mentioned it in a video, but I have been buying the ones from Shiseido. One of you recommended the ones from Muji. They are way, way less expensive than the Shiseido ones, but I love them equally. They're really beautiful, perfect cottons. But many of you in the comments have been recommending that I try reusable pads, like reusable cotton pads, washable ones. So when I was running out of the Muji cotton pads this time, I went ahead and did it. I purchased a pack of reusable wipes. I don't even know what you would say, like reusable cotton rounds, I guess. This is them, and actually most of them are dirty, but I'm going to show them to you. I'm sorry they're dirty. I'll show them to you anyway. They came in this little plastic thing, and I will link the ones that I bought. I didn't really know what I was doing. I ended up buying the packet that had the most in it. Because it's my no buy year, I could only buy one. So some of them came in like packs of 12, and this one I think came in like a pack of 18. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting the pack of 18 because next year, if I really like these, I'll buy more so that I'll have enough to kind of get through a significant number of them without then having to wash them all the time. But this year, I will just have to make do with this one set because I was just buying one to replace my cotton pads that had run out, and now it's just going to be this one set until the end of the year. So this is what they look like. Here's kind of one that's not too dirty, and they're bamboo, I believe. And they are soft, but they're a little bit rougher than on the face than the Muji cottons and the Shiseido cottons. But I think that they'll get softer with washes, and I also really don't mind. It's so amazing to be able to just wash and reuse instead of having to throw away like a giant bucket of cottons every month. So they come in this little mesh bag that you can use for washing them. So you put them in here, and then you wash this bag in with your dirty laundry, and presumably they get clean through the bag so that they aren't flying free among all your laundry and getting lost everywhere and being difficult to manage. I have not washed them yet. I've just dirtied them all. I need to wash them probably tonight. Actually, I'll wash them. I think I have one or two still clean, so I'll be washing them soon. The thing I don't like about this particular set that I bought is that the two halves like slide around, if you can see that. So there's a piece of cloth on one side and a piece of cloth on the other, and then they're hemmed with a serger around the edge, and you can slide it around inside. And some of the ones I saw on Amazon had a seam through the middle. Now I know that that was to keep this from happening, because when I'm swiping them on my face, sometimes it can slide around and they're just difficult to work with. So I'm actually going to take these down to my sewing studio and sew aligned through in both directions, like crisscross, to keep that from happening. And then I think hopefully they'll be good. But the fact that I'm going to do that made me realize that I could actually just make these. I could make some for myself. I might not even need to buy more. I can just find some soft terry cloth. In fact, I think I even have some terry fabric in the studio now, and all I would need to do would be to cut them into circles or squares and just hem around the edge, and then I could just throw them in with these and use them all. So I'm converted to washable cotton rounds. And if any of you have a brand that you use that you really do like, because I'm kind of lukewarm I'm really enthusiastic about the concept, but I'm lukewarm about this exact one that I bought. If any of you have ones that you really, really love, please share those in the comments for anyone who might be looking. And that really is it. That is the end of my very, very reasonable empties video for the month of September. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll remember to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.